In this video, I finally dive into the QiYi MP series, and I really want to determine if this is the best series in cubing history. Let's get this. Okay, so first off, let's talk about the packaging. This is probably the best cube packaging I've ever seen. I love the graffiti art and how each box has its own art and color scheme. Very well done. Something I'll also make note of is that each cube, including the Pyraminx, comes in its very own nice hard shell case. It's very clean, very simplistic, and I really like it. These boxes will for sure be on display somewhere in my collection. So going into the 2x2, and again, I want to determine if this series is the best in cubing history. This is 50 millimeters, weighs 58 grams, was released October 25th, 2021, and you can get this for $15.15 using code HERO at checkout on speedcubeshop.com. The color scheme is consistent across the board, and it's always a nice thing. I remember the new Yushin Little Magic 2x2 and 3x3 being about as inconsistent as possible, and it makes it really hard to see the consistency in the overall series. And to be fair, these are the kind of colors I love, which are the very vibrant colors. They just seem to pop really well. So going into the magnetic strength, it's feeling a bit on the strong side, and I can see that it utilizes the dual corner magnets. It seems to have one yellow and one silver, and I'll be diving more into this when I break it down. As for the first turns, it's got a very clacky sound to it, and it's definitely on the dry side. This would probably benefit a lot with something like Lunar since it doesn't really need to be slowed down at all. So overall, not bad, and I'll set this aside and move on to the 3x3. The 3x3 is 56 millimeters, weighs 72 grams, was released October 25th, 2021, and you can get this for $17.05 using code HERO at checkout on speedcubeshop.com. All right, again with that color consistency, loving it. The magnets are feeling a bit more on the medium to strong side, and that's probably the exact strength I prefer in a cube. Turning is, like the 2x2. It's pretty dry, and I would probably add some Martian because it's not a super strong cube, but I want it fast and I want to control the feel. And speaking of feel, the feeling is really controlled and stable, which should be on everyone's list of needs as a speed cube. Is this the best 3x3 I've ever experienced? No, but it's got legit potential. So setting this aside and grabbing the 4x4, this is 60 millimeters. It weighs 120 grams. It was released October 25th, 2021, and you can get this for $21.80 using code HERO at checkout on speedcubeshop.com. And for some reason, this feels smaller than a 60 millimeter cube, but I'll roll with it. The magnets are medium to strong on the outers, and definitely strong on the inners. Looks like they have the single magnet on the outers and the double magnets on the inners, kind of like the GAN 460. I really like the inner strength, so the pieces stay intact when I do slice moves. As for the turning, like the last two, it's pretty dry, and I'm only going to be using Lunar on this. From here it needs to only speed up. I do catch a lot, but it's probably more because out of the box this is pretty dry. I really like how it feels overall in my hands, and I'm able to perform pretty well overall. Again, I'll set this aside and I'll break this down shortly. On to the 5x5. This is 62 millimeters, weighs 153 grams, was released October 25th, 2021, and you can get this for $24.65 using code HERO at checkout on speedcubeshop.com. The magnet strength on the 5x5 is probably more on the medium on the outers and strong on the inners. I'm not going to impress you with my 5x5 turning since I do get to be a little bit more sloppy with these bigger cubes. Turning is, again, very dry out of the box. I'm probably putting Martian for the same reason on the 3x3. It's got a lot of potential, and again, it's very stable. My M slices struggle a bit, but it's probably more to do with the fact that the cube has very strong magnets. One other thing I'll point out is that clicking sound. I've always loved it, and for some reason, it's super satisfying to hear. Okay, setting this aside, and last up we have the Pyraminx. This weighs 73 grams. It was released, you guessed it, October 25th, 2021, and you can get this for $16.10 using discount code HERO at checkout on speedcubeshop.com. The magnet strength across the Pyraminx is pretty medium, which is good. I need magnets in place to prevent me from overturning, and it also helps with stability. Turning, got a very fluid feel to it. It's probably the only one in the series that doesn't need additional lube, though it wouldn't hurt. I'd probably stay middle of the road, go with Galaxy to balance out the control and speed. And since I left you all hanging on the breakdowns, let's break these all down at the same time. Starting with the 2x2 core and edge, it has a very standard QiYi core, which is to be expected. As for the corner, it's anything but expected. Very clean waffle design on the inner piece with that dual magnet. This was built with stability in mind, and I absolutely appreciate that. Moving on to the 3x3, the core is something that I've never seen. At least I don't recall seeing. And out of the cap, I'm greeted with its own version of the dual adjustment system, only this is much more clear since we have a viewing window to see what number we're actually on. You use the tool to make the adjustment, and it clicks just like this. Very nice. As for the corner and the edge, I'm seeing the same waffle pattern on the corner and nothing on the edge. The corner has a stubby corner stock that fits within the layered edge torpedo. As for the 4x4 core, we're back to that same standard QiYi core stuff. As for the corners and the edges, it's very easy to see why this feels so stable. The magnets are insanely strong. The inner dual magnets really do attract to one another, from a distance like this. Pretty cool. As for the 5x5 core, I am greeted with that large center cap, which does assist with the stableness of the overall cube. Getting a better look at the corner and the edges, it's pretty much a 5x5 version of the 3x3. Single magnet structure, no texture on the edges, so on and so forth. And lastly, I have the Pyraminx core and edge. I'm probably least impressed with this, but it's not a bad thing. Pyraminx is a pretty basic puzzle as is. You have your single magnets on the edge, which is pretty much it. So I'll snap these back together, and if you want to see me putting these all together in a time lapse, I'll add that to the very end of the video in case you want to see a satisfying cube build. So overall, these aren't bad and should only improve with lube and break-in, and this poses the initial question. Is this the best series in cubing history? I would actually have to say yes, and for a number of reasons. These are consistent over the entire series, quality was in mind with the overall build, and there was a lot of attention to detail. And speaking of detail, the packaging is beyond amazing and will present well. And lastly, they don't totally break the bank. Would I suggest buying all 5 and maining them? Probably not. However, if you're trying to get into all these puzzles and not really compete with them, these are great to have because they're all consistently the same, and that's pretty hard to find in a series. So I'd love to hear your thoughts below to see if you think I got this right or if you totally disagree. Also, if you want that time-lapse rebuild, let's roll into that now. If you're new to the channel, be sure to click that subscribe button as well as the bell to be notified of upcoming videos. Be sure you're also using discount code HERO at checkout for any and all speedcubeshop.com orders. Don't forget to give this video a like as well as comment any thoughts or questions below. Additionally, I started a merch site, so don't hesitate to check out the link in the description and consider supporting my channel. Lastly, follow me on Instagram as well as join my Discord. Links in the description. And until next time, happy cubing.